I once was blind, but now I see. I'm going to be reading John the 9th chapter, and I'm going to be skipping through the chapter because I don't have that much time to read it. But I'm doing the 24th through the 25th, the 30th through the 33rd, and the 39th verse. If you have time, y'all go and read this chapter. So the Jewish leaders, y'all, this is the time when Jesus healed the blind man that was born blind. So the Jewish leaders called the man who had been blind. They told him to come in again. They said, you should honor God by telling the truth. We know that this man is a sinner. The man answered, I don't know if he is a sinner, but I know this. I was blind, and now I can see. The man answered, this is really strange. You don't know where he comes from, but he healed my eyes. We all know that God does not listen to sinners, but he will listen to anyone who worships and obeys him. This is the first time we have ever heard of anyone healing the eyes of someone born blind. This man must be from God. If he were not from God, he could not do anything like this. When the man said, I once was blind, and now I can see. Can't you hear that? Can't you see that? Could nobody open this man's eyes up but Jesus? Can't nobody give you that vision, that truth, but Jesus. Can't nobody pull you out of that deception that you are living in but Jesus. I couldn't see, but he opened my eyes up to where now I can see. I was blind, but could nobody pull me out of that deception but God. Pay attention to the story. That man said, I once was blind, but now I can see. Could nobody do it but Jesus. Jesus said, I came into this world so that the world could be judged. I came so that people who are blind could see. And I came so that people who think they can see will become blind. And around that time, it was talking about spiritual blindness. And he was talking about the Pharisees because they felt like they could see. But Jesus was telling them, you think you can see, but you really are blind. And when you think you can see, but you really are blind, you are living in deception. That means that you are still bound. And those Pharisees, just like many today, that call themselves Christians, they say, I can see, but many are still blind. And that's what Jesus was trying to show them, that you think you can see, but you can't. And not only that, you can't even hear God. When you living in deception, who are you hearing? Because you living in a lie. You're not living in the truth. You're not walking in the truth. So what are you hearing? What are you listening to? What are you seeing? And the enemy will make you feel like that what you hear, what you see, that it's the truth, but all the time you're living in a deception. And can't nobody pull you out of that deception but God. And that's what that blind man was telling them. I once was blind. And it's a lot of people that is blind. And can't nobody open your eyes up but God. For you to walk in the truth. Because whenever you is out here, you consumed by darkness. You consumed by the things of the world. You're living in deception. And you really think you're walking in the truth. But when you follow the ways of the world and you want to live like the world, then guess what? You're living in deception. And you thinking that you walking around here seeing, and you got people that say, oh, I can see. But what are you seeing? Because you so bound by that darkness, by deception, to where you really not living in the truth. Because God is the truth. And if you still bound to the world and living like the world, then you're not living in the truth. So that means that you're blind. In the Pharisees, they couldn't see that because they were so in their own way, and they didn't even know who Jesus was, and they was honoring Moses, and they wasn't even living in the truth. They was living in deception. Because really, they was in their own way. Yeah, it's time to get out your own way. And ask God to lead you into the right direction. And guess what? The right direction is leading you into the truth. And come out of the deception and the manipulation of this world. And when he was giving me that, and I just kept hearing that man say, I once was blind, but now I can see. And I used to be so bound in that deception where I was blind, thinking that my way was right, thinking that how the world was presenting things, that it was the right way of living, even when you're calling yourself a Christian, even when you're saying that you are a child of God. But in reality, you are bound by the things of the world. And we'll be so quick to say, oh, I can see, I'm not blind. Just like them Pharisees. They basically was living by their own rules. And it's a lot of people that call themselves Christians. It's living by their own way. And that's what Jesus was telling me. I mean, the Pharisees got offended. That was like, so what you saying, that we can't see? And that's what he was telling them. Because they were so, it's like, only thing I see with their story, they just was so in their own way. And they just was so, pious and, so focused on the outer man. And Jesus was rebuking them because of, they were so caught up in self. And that's how it is in this Christian world, where you got so many people caught up in self. And when you caught up in self, you're living in deception. And it's time to ask God to set you free. Because whether people know it or not, you have a lot of people that call themselves Christians are bound and don't even know it. So, it's time to come out, y'all. Bye, y'all.